Hey everybody, welcome to All-Star Fandom Prime, another weekly show. Had to move it from Wednesday because of date night and with the missus and friends, but back here on Thursday. Right now, I'm just flying solo. So if you're watching, feel free to drop comments in the section because we're going to be talking about WrestleMania 40. Man, if you know me, I'm a huge wrestling fan, and I couldn't wait to talk about this. My guest at the moment isn't here. So, like I said, if something comes up in this, we're going to skim through the matches that we have so far for WrestleMania, and then we'll just go over our predictions for that. But before we get started, like, follow, share, subscribe, do all the social media stuff. Just talking to the internet right now. It's the first time I've ever just done this solo, too, which is going to be a voyage, I guess. But just wanted to get into this. WrestleMania is right there. Huge WrestleMania, huge WWE fan, huge wrestling fan. And that all sparked from a childhood of just growing up in that golden era, which was the Attitude Era. Man, 96 to about 2002, I was in deep. But then a few years ago, my dad passed away, and we used to always talk about it back and forth, back and forth. Who's going to win this? Who's going to win this week? Who's going to do all that? And where is this story going? And I will admit, after he passed away, I didn't watch it as much. Just that connection wasn't there. But then we went through the pandemic and jumped on Peacock and watched all of pretty much my childhood there and started getting back into it. My wife watched her first match, Sasha versus Bianca Belair, was sold then. She wasn't a wrestling fan before, but she was. But now it's just that opportunity that I have now to go to Raws, go to SmackDowns, go to WrestleMania even. But that's where my love is. My love is that camaraderie with my dad, that camaraderie with my brother, and among other friends as well, too. So that's the introduction for this one. This is the reason I love wrestling so much. Speaking to no one at the moment, but I'm okay with it. This is going to just make me stronger in the end, and I'm looking forward to where we go with this. So let's go ahead and jump into this. So WrestleMania is about 3 weeks away as of this recording. Our first match that we're going to talk about it's kind of gotten overshadowed from all of the other matches, but it has like my two favorite superstars, and we're going to jump into AJ Styles and LA Knight. Now, LA Knight's come a long way since Max Dupree, and I'm super happy he's able to get his turn at all of this. Man, he's on a trajectory now that without a doubt he was not on. Man, before Rumble of last year, before his Bray Wyatt match. So now he's in a headlining pay-per-view with AJ Styles. This moment right here, this moment made LA Knight for me, because you could see Roman in his glasses, like the reflection of his glasses. So good. But the feud all stemmed from LA Knight took AJ Styles' spot in a match that he teamed up with John Cena. And that's how he claims that's how LA Knight's gotten to the point that he's gotten to, which is a wild thing to assume. But you look at it, that's what happened. Then AJ comes back from injury, jacked to the gills, new persona, a little bit meaner, just over the top, sort of like just he means business at this moment. And then, come on, he went and did attacked him the first day. He attacked LA Knight the first time he came back and just destroyed him, essentially. He even flew all the way to Australia for another pay-per-view just to attack him with the chair. But again, this one may have gotten overlooked a bit, but I still can't wait to see how this one goes. I feel like they put AJ Styles with people who he can get the most out of for WrestleMania, or show them a little bit more than what they usually show during their match. Like, I look back at the match he had with Shane, like the fact that he was able to have like a match like that with Shane, and Shane's no slouch either, give him his credit. But AJ Styles can have a great match with anybody, and this is gonna put LA Knight in that. Oh, I spelled his name. I left the K out in LA Knight, but that's going to be a fun one to watch. Excuse me. Can't wait till we get to that one. My predictions for that one, I think LA Knight comes out on top in this one. I don't think we kill his momentum. I don't know if AJ Styles really needs a WrestleMania win, but this has the potential of stealing the show too. It's just one of those things where, man, it's going to be a good match, and we know that for certain. But on the way out of Mania, what's going to happen then? Does this feud continue? Or will we see LA Knight go after something like the United States title? Or we see AJ Styles, who might have an opportunity to start going after bigger titles if a certain story finishes, right? So we slide on back. Let's slide on back. Come on. We're gonna go. And again, this is like my third live show, so this has been fun. Let's go to. I didn't do it right. We're gonna go to the single, but really, it's just one of those things where, oh yeah, there we go. Where it's just WrestleMania is just a part of what can you say? Just pop culture. It's a pop culture phenomenon, and now cities are bidding on it, like the Olympics. So that's going to be a good one. That's going to be a good first match for this one, if it's the first match. Next, we move on to Jimmy and Jey Uso, the brothers, the main event. I like this rivalry so much. We saw a glimpse of it, like them face to face during Mania, during Royal Rumble this year, and this Royal Rumble was okay. This is the first time I've ever attended a Royal Rumble. It was down in Tampa. Loved it. It's me and my wife's favorite event. We can't get enough of the Rumble. So fast forward. First, number one and number two of the Rumble is Jimmy and Jey Uso. You can't get much better than that as a face-off, right? So we go here. That's that matchup card. Two brothers, great, one of the greatest tag teams of all time. Now they're against each other. You got main event Jey Uso, the whipping boy for the bloodline for all those years, and now look at him starring on in his own. He's a main eventer. That's essentially what it comes down to. And then you have his brother who has literally lost his mind, and I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know where he's coming back from. I don't know if he can come back from this, but this was the showdown, that face-to-face at Royal Rumble, which was amazing. Jimmy, who's in the red, and Jey, who's main event with the yeet on the side of his on his arm. One of the bloodline has spun off so many additional storylines, and that's what you want from a faction. You want a faction or a group to become superstars through that. Look at the Nation of Domination. When Farouk was leader, and then when The Rock was leader, you had Farouk, The Rock, the Godfather, Mark Henry, D'Lo Brown. All guys went on to have super successful careers. Some of the greatest acts of all time, some of the greatest champions of all time, just through that alone. So predictions for this match. Let me think. I want this story to continue. I don't want it to end at WrestleMania. I want it to go through SummerSlam because Jimmy's unhinged at the moment, and I love it. So I want the outcome for this one. I want Jimmy to win out of nowhere, essentially. You know what? No, let me switch that. Let Jey win. He has his main event moment, but Jimmy still somehow at the end of that match destroys his brother. So that way we get all the way back to, that's the way we go to SummerSlam, maybe even to late this year or next year. That's going to be a really, really fun feud because it feels like it's rather short, but it's been a long time. That bloodline storyline is one for the ages, like single-handedly one for the ages. So that's my prediction for Jimmy and Jey for the Usos there, because that's going to be, I mean, I don't think you can get any better than that for a main event. Well, not a main event, but Jey Uso is the main event, right? But moving on to that next one, we're going to move on to that next topic or that next match, however you want to say it. It's that six-pack ladder match for the WWE Tag Team Championships. We've started to see how that group of 6 teams has sort of come together, and it's coming together pretty nicely. Judgment Day are the champions right now. So this is the card so far. So far, you got New Day back in there, one of the greatest tag teams of all time. Got DIY. I'm okay with them. I think they put on a hell of a match against the Creed brothers, which You can slip the Creed brothers in here, honestly, and I don't think anybody would be upset with that either. But then you got Awesome Truth back there, which I don't know. It's just they're my pick to win it because it makes sense with the storyline. R-Truth, he had his run-ins with the Judgment Day where he believed that he was an actual member of the Judgment Day, and he wasn't. So that alone should have been like that alone was like a funny sort of storyline. But similar to Sami Zayn's the year before, he was sort of that comic relief. But then look what that evolved to for Sami Zayn. Main event of WrestleMania. Now you got R-Truth back in a WrestleMania. Just a win-win across the board. New Day, what can I say, man? One of the greatest tag teams of all time. They sort of lost a bit of steam. I think that's when they went to SmackDown and they went over to NXT a little bit, and now they're back. But it was just one of those things where it was okay. But I missed them as a trio. Really hope Big E comes back in some capacity after his neck injury. But my predictions for this one, it continues the story, right? Judgment Day finally loses their championships, and then you have R-Truth and Miz. R-Truth being the character that they kicked out of the group, which he really wasn't part of the group. But now you sort of have that back and forth after WrestleMania too. So that gives Judgment Day something to do. And let's not forget, Damian Priest does have that cash-in briefcase. It's what, next month or next 2 months? It's like Money in the Bank. He's cashed that in soon, right? So back to single. There we go. All right. So that's going to be a fun one to watch. Can't wait to see that one, especially for a ladder match too. I really wish they still had the Money in the Bank ladder match during WrestleMania. Making a whole pay-per-view just seemed a little weird, a little off. But for me, it was still like a headlining thing, and it kept a lot of it. It gave a lot of guys opportunities to be on the WrestleMania card, which is what this is doing too. And it made it even easier to sort of keep up when, hey, that year you got until next WrestleMania to cash it in. So you can literally cash it in that last day or that day of WrestleMania, which is a pretty dope concept when you do think about it. Again, this is going to show how packed this card is because our next one up is Iyo Sky and Bayley. Started with control, damage control a few years ago, I think 2 SummerSlams ago. So that match that brought Iyo and Dakota back, teaming up with Bayley. I'm gonna be completely honest, I didn't enjoy the group. I really didn't, but I started to enjoy the group more when that internal conflict started happening. So when they added Asuka to it, that conflict was there. When they added, oh my God, her name leaves me. Carrie Zayn. When they added her, I was like, oh, okay, well, they're kind of freezing Bayley out. And I like Bayley. Granted, I do like the hugger Bayley a lot better than this current Bayley. That's just a preference for me. But for me, it's just, I mean, it's being overshadowed. I'm not saying it's overshadowed, overlooked, but I will say that this card's stacked. And I don't envy Triple H at all on where he's going to put all of these matches for night 1 and night 2 of WrestleMania. But this was Damage Control. This is how we started. And they were a tight group. Did I like them? I didn't. I really didn't. I know I didn't. I didn't like them whatsoever. But I will say, for me at least, man, we got to watch to see if we're there. I don't know if we are fully live here. Have I gone through? See, this is the thing about Instagram. They show it to me, and then so yeah, it's just started, and I've been going for 16 minutes. This is what I'm saying. Like, I didn't click live video on the Instagram side again. So this is interesting. So we're going through, right? Let me jump back on this Damage Control thing. So they put this group together. Was not a huge fan of this group whatsoever, not at all. And then I look and see the internal conflict. Bayley wins the Royal Rumble. Then you have Iyo Sky as the women's champion. Some internal conflict there. You've got my attention. We're in this thing. We're ready to go. And then obviously the breaking up of the group. It's one of those things where it's your usual WWE trope in a to a degree, but the fact that I hope this was the plan all along. But I will say my predictions for this one: Bayley comes out on top, wins the WrestleMania, headlines one, becomes champion there. I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, she's won one already. So just gonna see how that one plans out. I don't know about what goes on further from this. I don't even think the women tag team, which are Asuka and Zayn, I don't even know if they have a title match at Mania yet for those women titles. Because if you wanted to really do it, you just completely implode Damage Control that entire night. They lose everything. They lose the tag titles, they lose the world title, and they're essentially a broken group going into the next season of WWE. So it's just one of those things where, hey, we'll see what happens there. I'm not that very optimistic, but I love Bayley. Just let her win everything, man. I don't mind. I don't think anybody will mind. But yeah, I really don't think anyone would mind on that one. So we move on to the match I'm looking forward to. Is Sami Zayn versus Gunther for that Intercontinental title. Sami Zayn has had probably the best back-to-back WrestleManias that you could possibly have. He's thrown into a match with Johnny Knoxville, and it's the most jackass of a match you can ever have. And it was in Dallas, the one that we were at, and I absolutely loved it. I absolutely enjoyed it. It was just one of those things where it was so entertaining, and it may have been my match of the night, but it was so good. But that's a long. Then last year he main evented with Kevin Owens to take on the Usos for tag team championship on night one and won. Sami Zayn has had a hell of a 2 years when it comes to WrestleMania. This year could be it could go down as number 3 because he's taking on this guy Gunther, who I feel like is on a whole nother level. He's the ring general for a reason, and he's amazing. He's an old school sort of throwback. No elbow pads, no knee pads, just trunks and boots with a lot of chops to your chest, sort of thing. And he's been feuding. He's pretty much run through the entire roster, or at least that mid-card roster. There's no one else for him to really go up against. And Sami Zayn had to go through this sort of gauntlet of matches or opponents to actually get a chance to contend for this title at WrestleMania. But now if you look and believe the internet wants this guy. They want Chad Gable to be inserted into this match, which, in my opinion, I don't have a problem with at all. Chad Gable's had one hell of a year as well. Alpha Academy, he got that group over, him and Otis. And now he's tapping into what he should have been and what he should have been, honestly. He should have been like that Kurt Angle sort of character, which to this day, I have no idea how Jason Jordan is Kurt Angle's son, but this guy who's an Olympian isn't. Anyway, my prediction for this match, and we're still a few weeks out, I think they're going to insert Chad into this match. I'm going to go out on a limb. Chad Gable wins this when he's inserted. That's A. B, if he's not inserted, Gunther destroys Sami Zayn and continue his reign of terror as Intercontinental Champion. I don't think there's any other person on that roster who can carry that title like he carried it. But that's the thing. Do we start getting him ready for the World Championship too? He may have had the Intercontinental title way too long. He's his longest reigning Intercontinental Champion. Okay, this is what you do. You let him lose it. You let him lose it because I want Gunther going after the world title after this. So Sami Zayn wins or Chad Gable wins. My prediction is Gunther goes out. He loses that match. And from there, he starts his pursuit after Mania for the world title. Seth Rollins' current title. But that was one of those matches where if the internet gets his way or the internet wrestling community gets their way, I see Chad Gable being inserted into that match. I really do. Let's jump over Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, Logan Paul. Randy Orton is Randy Orton. Randy Orton's going to always be Randy Orton. I won't trust him as far as I can throw a 10-ton banana. Until this day, I don't trust good guy Randy. I just will never, ever trust good guy Randy. But if we go over for that match card, boom. Logan Paul is the United States champion. And I didn't imagine myself saying this or thinking this, but he's been one hell of a United States champion. And he's been one hell of a performer when it comes to his in-ring product. The whole Prime thing on the canvas, I seriously thought that was just like a angle. But we'll see when we get to WrestleMania if that Prime logo is on the mat. But I swore, I was like, how much of a heel can he be? How much more of a heel can he be than having his logo, paying to have his logo on the canvas? But still, Randy Orton, what can I say? Dude's had like a 20. He's the LeBron of wrestling at the moment. Still has the greatest matches. My whole thought is how is he going to catch Logan Paul in an RKO? Logan Paul might fly off something. Logan Paul might, I don't know, go through something. He's going to catch him some sort of way, right? Then we have Kevin Owens, who adopted the stunner 2 years ago. Very similar to Sami Zayn when it comes to having a really good WrestleMania run. The year we were in Dallas, he went against Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I will admit to this day, the chill bumps are coming up on me as I speak. Hearing that glass break for the first time in person and just seeing everybody go up, especially the unexpected one when he did that terrible stunner to Vince McMahon, who we don't talk about anymore for good reason. That was the moment. And I've always wanted to be a part of that pop. But Kevin Owens having one hell of a year too, because the next year he teamed with Sami Zayn to take on the Usos. And then we get to Logan Paul, where his gear, he's essentially, to me, a member of the Cobra Kai dojo. Look at him here, man. Like, he's dripped in black and gold. His titles dripped in gold. Dude looks like a superstar, and he's only had like a handful of high-profile matches. I mean, he's gone against Randy Orton. I mean, he's gone against Roman Reigns, Rey Mysterio, man, The Miz. Who else? Like, he's had Miz in a tag team match with Miz in a tag team match against the Mysterios. Man, he had these other matches too. But he's always been really good at what he does, which is amazing, because the fact that he came in and was just perfect out the gate, it seems like. I can't wait to see what he does at Mania. Predictions for this one: Logan Paul retains in a very despicable fashion, right? He got the title, or not, he got the title by cheating. Why not keep the title by cheating? And does Randy really need a United States title reign? No. Does Kevin Owens really need a United States championship reign? Not really. I think their stuff is going to open up a little bit more after Mania, when, again, like a certain story finishes. But that's going to be a good one that's going to be a really good one to watch. I know I've already picked a match of the night, but that will be a good one as well. So again, like, this card is so stacked, you forget a lot of matches, but then you want to be like, what are those builds of those matches? How have those builds been? So we get to Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley for the WWE Women's World Championship. Rhea's been on one of amazing tears. Had the greatest match on WrestleMania's 39 card with Charlotte. That was the best match on the card that night. I'll put that up against anybody who wants to say anything about that match. But again, in the shadows of like Roman Reigns, The Rock, Cody, and Seth, we got this match too, which to me, we were building this match already. They did the kickoff show where Becky was on it, and it's just one of those things where like you saw it coming. But it was really interesting how Becky got there, which was because after Bayley won the Rumble, and she didn't choose Rhea. How do we get Becky or get Rhea an opponent? And this was the best opponent for her. And I will admit, they have that Bianca Rhea money in the bag when they want to pull that trigger. They're not going to pull that trigger yet. And I'm glad that they haven't, because they've been in the same company, been on the same show, but no interactions with each other. Or even if when they switch brands and stuff, that interaction was limited. Now they're on the cover of 2K, and you're like, this could be your Rock and Austin. But the Rock and Austin at least had those run-ins earlier, and they had some run-ins and stuff earlier, but the Rock and Austin always found their way back to each other. I feel like that's going to happen with Bianca and Rhea once they figure out, or once they want to pull that trigger. She's having one heck of a year. So is Becky. Becky's money every time, man. Like, you can't say anything wrong with Becky Lynch. She makes you will her to win. But I will admit, bigger fan of Rhea. Prediction for this one: Rhea Ripley wins Rhea Ripley retains and continue her reign as champion. Becky, does she need a win? Whew. Oh, wait a minute. Oh man, I don't think Becky's won. She won last year in the tag team match, but what's wild about it is that she lost a year in Dallas to Bianca, and it's cool to hear, like, in her book, she said that she was, after she squashed Bianca at SummerSlam the year before, months before, really, that she was like, "Hey, trust me, I'll give it back to you." And they had one hell of a match in Dallas as well. But Rhea, I got a feeling Rhea retains. She goes on to, I don't know, what else does she do? Like, is that when you pull the cord or the trigger on her and Bianca? That's just one of those things where, like, that's money in the bag anytime they really want to pull that, which I'm very surprised that they haven't. But when you know it's there, why just give it out when for anything? So we get Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. This one is interesting. Seth Rollins is double dipping, and I don't know. Very similar to what I said about Randy Orton, I don't trust Seth Rollins as far as I can throw a 10-ton banana. So, with that being said, I think there's more to come, especially when we know that night one is that tag team match with Cody versus the New Bloodline. So that's going to be really telling. If they lose that match and Seth takes the pin the following night, I don't know if that's going to go well with him. But Drew McIntyre is having one hell of a run too. I'm picking Drew McIntyre, because Drew McIntyre, scratch that. I got it. As of this recording, WWE hasn't been in Chicago yet. Chicago is hometown of CM Punk. The way I sort of see this thing going now, because the fact that Drew McIntyre said he prayed for CM Punk's injury, and he keeps shouting out CM Punk every week. He put it on a t-shirt, for goodness sakes. I am going ahead and saying, like, CM Punk is going to say that he's going to be the special guest referee for Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins match. And he has heat between both Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. So we could have sort of a Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker sort of thing. If you remember that one, Shawn was the referee. He hit Undertaker with a chair by mistake. He was feuding with Bret Hart. Bret Hart pinned and got the win. This could possibly happen. So that's going to be my prediction for that match. But, I want Drew to win it so bad, but it makes more sense for him to lose it. So he and Punk can go, but Punk's going to be out a little longer. Make CM Punk count the 1, 2, 3 for Drew McIntyre, because Drew McIntyre said he prayed for that dude's injury, and that he's been running him down all every week. So that's my prediction. Drew McIntyre, CM Punk counts the 1, 2, 3. He's a special guest referee. Moving out of that, we feud a little bit more with Seth, and oh man, now I'm thinking about something else, because I'm thinking, what if? Okay, never mind. This show is going too long, and I'm by myself. So what can I say? We'll come back to this. I'll bring on a guest where we can talk wrestling a little bit more. But so the biggest sort of thing for this one, I'm thinking about it now because that would be really good. So let's move to the next one because yeah, that's gonna be telling. That might be a match of the night with all the moving pieces for that one. Oh man, that might be the one with the moving pieces. Okay, never mind. I'm getting off topic. So that was Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. That was my prediction for that one. Let's move on to The Rock, Roman Reigns, and Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. Been looking forward to this one for a long time, but if you know wrestling, the internet sort of tore this up when when it appeared that The Rock was going to take Cody's place. You know, they did the whole handshake and everything like that. It was dope. You could see in Cody's eyes that he didn't really want this. So we are finally going to get Rock and Roman, which should have happened either at this WrestleMania or the following year over in LA. But the reason I love the storyline so much is because it gave me this guy back. This is the guy I fell in love with as a wrestling fan. Heel Rock, it was on a whole different level. He didn't care. He'd run you down. It was the best time that he was on the microphone. This is the Rock I fell in love with. The $500 shirts from Lucky's, like all that stuff. I was a fan. And the fact that people booed him, because you don't boo The Rock. Like you don't. But then he's so damn entertaining. You're like, I got to cheer for this guy because this guy he's entertaining me. And if he would have come back in that capacity, like he came back with like Cena or any other time, positive sort of Rock or like fan favorite Rock, I'm like, I'm like, that guy ain't get away. Give me this dude all day. I kid you not. To this day, when I walk like the Rock's walking down the the ramp. When he had turned a corner, just like in this picture here, go back and watch all of his old matches. When he made to the end of the ramp and hit that corner, boom, he raised the eyebrow, right? It was always so freaking good. Let me see if I can do that again. Hey, man, 20 years of practice. But then we get this happening. The Rock joins the bloodline where we were like, oh, we want you to be the hero. But no, we want Cody to really be the hero. Rock, what are you going to do? What are we going to do? So they pivoted, and they pivoted into probably the best thing that you could possibly. It's like, chicken salad in the chicken, you know what, in the chicken salad, right? Join the bloodline. Didn't see this coming at all. He acknowledges Roman Reigns as his tribal chief as well. And that press conference with Seth and Cody there, and that's how Seth inserts himself by sort of taking up with Cody. And there's beef all around for everybody. There's enough beef for everybody, apparently. But I get classic Rock back in a new presentation, of refreshed presentation. Because let's be honest, that entrance of his now is the most amazing entrance in all of wrestling. I really wish I had that video, but let's go ahead and move over to the real meat and potatoes of this one. Cody Rhodes finishing the story. Oh, let me go back. Before I picked that one, let me go back. I just talked about The Rock the entire time. I just talked about The Rock the entire time. So let's backtrack. I'm going to leave it on that because that's a hell of a picture. So for that tag team match, if the Bloodline wins, it's Bloodline rules. If Seth and Cody wins, the Bloodline, that group is Roman and Cody one-on-one. That's it. They're done. That's it. That gives them a better chance of winning that championship, right? I got so many conflicting feelings about this because I don't believe that The Rock's truly a heel. Could be playing a double agent here. I don't necessarily trust Seth Rollins either. Hey man, I mean, it's a habit. Turning is a habit for him. And he and Cody's beef was probably one of the best before Cody got hurt. It was one of the best rivalries that they've had in a very long time. So let me go ahead and pick this. It makes sense for it to be Bloodline rules the next night. Makes way more sense. So I'm going to pick Cody and yes. So it's Bloodline rules. Cody and So no. Okay. Cody and Seth wins. Cody and Seth wins. Rock takes the pin. No, not showing that either. Let's just make a Seth Rollins the loser of the weekend. So the Bloodline wins. Seth Rollins is pinned. Seth Rollins starts to have beef with Cody Rhodes again from that. Oh man, how do you go from there? Okay, that's how I see it. It's gonna be Bloodline rules. The Rock's gonna win. The Rock and Roman are gonna win. How they win, I don't know. After this, I hope The Rock sticks around. If he's truly healed, that'd be great. If he's not, we'll see. Moving on, finishing the story. Whatever it happens to be, Bloodline rules or whatever, Cody Rhodes has to finish this story at this point. He just has to. It's one of those things where we're on this roller coaster ride, and if Roman Reigns, you've seen the memes or the videos, all like for like the last 2 years. It's like a guy watching WrestleMania like 60, and the bell rings and it's Roman Reigns theme music. It's hilarious, by the way. But at the same time, it's one of the things where it's one of those moments in time where like you can't let Cody lose again. He's the hottest babyface that we've had in a long time. Very on that John Cena before the whole Cena sucks chanting started. He was that type of babyface, a Superman sort of figure. Cody Rhodes, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was actually only 2 months ago. We went to Royal Rumble down in Tampa, and this little kid in front of me and my wife, once Cody wins, this kid cries. This kid just crying to his mom with just happiness that Cody Rhodes won. His guy won. I haven't seen that since John Cena was on top. And I went to a Raw in New Orleans with my brother, and all these kids come in dressed just like John Cena. And he's on the card that night. And he has a match, a dark match that night. And these kids go just ape, you know what, for John Cena. We haven't had a guy like that in a very long time. This is essentially the moment when the kids started crying. But Roman Reigns on an all-time tear. He could break Hogan's record by SummerSlam, but I don't think you do it. I mean, Roman Reigns has had an all-time great run. We're going to remember this. That run started in the pandemic in the Thunderdome, for goodness sakes, and it's still going at the moment. I think this is the way you top it off because the brothers are feuding. You have the Rock back in the mix. Maybe if the Rock's a double agent, you fast forward to SummerSlam, it's Rock versus Roman. But Cody has to finish the story. So my prediction for this one, Cody finally finishes the story, has the moment that he deserves. Roman goes off and just, you don't see Roman again for a very long time. But then when he decides to come back, he comes back to reclaim his kingdom, essentially. I did have a really cool storyline about Roman, how to get up to this point before they inserted The Rock. I'm going to tell it real quick because it's just me talking like I would talk with my wife, but she's not here at the moment. So my initial thought was like, let's just tear Roman down from like the inside. Like Jimmy and Jay, that feud breaks up. How did I have it? The way I had it was like everybody's leaving Roman by the time he gets to WrestleMania. Like everybody's losing. Everybody's sort of broken apart. Solo doesn't even come to his side, but you physically break him down where he's like losing his kingdom. And by the time he gets to WrestleMania, I would have said like, hey, no more just for men in the beard. Let that grade come out. And he looks like a worn, beat down sort of king at the end. Like imagine how you thought Conan's first last movie. Well, his last movie would have been the Old King. We saw the Barbarian, we saw the Destroyer, and now he's that old king, and this is his last reign. That would have been a cool storyline to sort of like weave within there, just to see that sort of Roman Empire sort of break down a bit. But Cody's got to finish it, man. It's going to be one of those. This card is stacked. And the thing is that I got to real quickly that we're going to do is that we got a lot of superstars missing out for WrestleMania right now. We went through a massive card so far. There's still teams to be added to the tag team turmoil. Maybe the Hardy Boys, maybe the Dudley Boys. You know, I really wish Stevie Ray could go get Harlem Heat in there, but Booker T would never do a ladder match. so, but like Bianca's off the list. Like she doesn't have anything yet. Jade Cargill, we saw her at Royal Rumble. Didn't see her anymore. Dirty Dom is not even on the card this year, which he had a hell of a run last year with his dad. Well, his deadbeat dad. Then you have Nakamura's not on there. Naomi's back. They have nothing for her right now. Solo is just the bodyguard at the moment. Lashley and the Street Profits. I was more optimistic about that than I probably should have been. But there's a lot of people still left off this card. Can Bianca slip on? We haven't really seen or heard from her a lot these last few weeks. So I'm really hoping that she gets on that card in some capacity. I don't think you pulled that Jade Cargill card yet. I thought Jade would have been great for this WrestleMania if she had Charlotte. That was sort of my prediction for her. Make her debut at Rumble and then maybe win, maybe lose, whatever. But if Charlotte wouldn't have been hurt, Charlotte would be her first match. Somebody who can carry her through that time, that first high profile of a match. But yeah, that card is still really missing a lot of people, but that card is already stacked. So if I had a guest on the day, we had this, what would you do? So the Wizard grants you an opportunity to sit front row at any match from the past. What match are you choosing? So let me say it one more time. This almighty Wizard gives you the opportunity to sit front row at any wrestling match from the past. Which match would you choose? That would have been the message that I asked my guest, but he's not here. So I'm going to answer it myself. I think Rock versus Hogan would have been amazing to sit in the crowd for, but I'm a huge Rock fan, and I wouldn't have got down with the booing. Every WrestleMania The Rock probably was in, he lost. Except this last one with Austin. And I'm just, which match would I choose? Man, maybe that WrestleMania 17 TLC match. Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, Dudley's. That might have been the one that I would sit through because that was a train wreck of a match and one hell of a match too. But man, WrestleMania season has been wild this year. Triple H is in charge. He's doing his thing. He's making sure everybody can get on the card, which we have a few more weeks and a few more open slots. So that's my WrestleMania prediction. What's yours? If you're watching this now or on the replay, go back through the video, type in the comments. Let me know what you would, let me know what you would pick or who'd you pick for those matches. I can't believe I sat up here and talked for 46 minutes and then I get on late on Instagram Live. I'm still working this stuff out, man. But I will extend this olive branch as well. If you want to be a guest on All Star Fandom, the reason I started this show was to reconnect with old friends, make some new ones along the way, and scratch that creative itch that I've always had. I put these videos together. The ones that are on my channel now, I fully edit myself. I have fun doing that. So the whole live show is just to give some content throughout the time between those big major interviews. But I will admit this has been fun. I'm actually finding my voice for this as well. I've limited my ums and ahs, which I'll probably go back and watch through this and say, you could have done better. But if you made it this far, thank you. If you're watching the replay, thank you for that too. I started this, like I said, to reconnect with friends, with family, and make some new friends on the way. But it also helped me during a time that I was going through a bit of a depression, a little grief when my dad passed away. Even though that was years before, it was a few years before I started this. Just going through that and working through that, along with therapy. If you can do therapy, I advise it. But having that depression, having that anxiety, and then just knowing I can be doing something with these creative juices and something that I could put back within the world. So if you're out there and you're watching, want to be a guest, feel free, drop me a DM, drop me a comment, whatever that fandom is for you. I love to talk about it. I like wrestling. I like superheroes. I like TV shows. I like Batman movies, whatever. If you can stump me on a fandom and there's something super interesting that I would have never thought of, please reach out. Would love to have you all on. But that's pretty much my whole take for WrestleMania 40. Again, like, share, subscribe, do all the social media stuff. I really do appreciate you. I really do appreciate everyone who is a subscriber and follow me on TikTok and on Instagram. So that's the show for this week. Man, like, I seriously talked for 50 minutes by myself to the world. I'm not sure who's in it. But man, I enjoy what I do. I enjoy doing this, and I can't say I'm still smiling. So until next time, this has been me, Dion, All-Star Fandom. Love you guys. I'm out.